Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Conrad Challenge webinar series. My name is Joey Segura. I'm the Innovation Challenge and Programs Manager here at Space Center Houston. And today we're going to be focusing on perfecting your lean canvas, a powerful tool to map out your big ideas, refine your business model, and make your Conrad submission stronger and more compelling. So we thank you all for joining us today. And by the end of this session, we hope that you're going to be able to leave with a clear understanding of the 12 sections of the lean canvas and how they work, practical steps for completing each section, insights from our guest experts on how entrepreneurs and innovators can utilize the lean canvas in the real world, and a roadmap for what to do after your lean canvas is complete. Now, we are joined today by two guests who are part of the Conrad Network. I like to say that we're a part of the Conrad family. These experts have valuable experience in the world of entrepreneurship and can offer some great insights on taking an innovation from idea to reality. Our guests will share their perspectives on how they approach key parts of their innovative journey. We're happy to welcome Ethan Feng and Indu Garidaju. Ethan is an entrepreneur. He's a podcaster and an innovation mentor. He is also the managing director of the Conrad Challenge China Ambassador Program. And I believe I saw on his LinkedIn, host of the #1 most listened to Chinese football podcast. So Ethan has led a great entrepreneurial journey and has some great insights. Thank you for joining us today, Ethan. Our next guest is Indu Garidaju. Indu is currently a freshman at Stanford University. She is studying computer science, and Indu is a part of our Alumni Leadership Council. She did participate in the Conrad Challenge in 2021, the 2021-2022 season, with her innovation named UV Shield. So she's going to share a little bit of her insight on her journey as a Conrad competitor and how she's applying that now in her college life. And we want to thank you, Indu, for joining us today. All right. So thank you to our guests, Ethan and Indu. They're going to provide some great insights. But before we dive into the specifics of each individual blocks, we know that that lean canvas has 12 essential questions. But before we get into each block of that lean canvas, we're going to set the stage, right? Completing a lean canvas isn't just about filling out those boxes and making your 40 characters or in those responses. It's really about telling the story of your innovation in a clear and structured way, right? This is your foundation. So before we get started, here are 5 major considerations to keep in mind as you work on your own lean canvas. All right, number 1, clarity over complexity. Keep your answers simple, specific, and jargon-free. If your peers or judges can't understand it in one read, it needs trimming. Number 2, customer first. Every section should tie back to the people you are serving. You're going to hear the term empathetic innovation, right, throughout the way. So always think, who is this for and how does it help them? Number 3, evidence beats assumption. Ground your answers in research, not just ideas, right? Even small surveys or examples of current alternatives can make your canvas stronger. Number 4, concise storytelling. Each block has a word limit for a reason, right? It forces you to get to the point and highlight only what's most important to you. And number 5, this is a living document. And what I mean by that is it's going to constantly change. Your first draft won't be perfect. The lean canvas is designed to evolve as you test, learn, and refine your innovation. So don't be afraid to scratch out some of those words and keep building and keep reiterating and keep innovating. So keep these in mind, and your lean canvas will not just meet the requirements, it will become a powerful roadmap for your team. Now, with those broad ideas in mind, let's dive into the lean canvas itself, and we're going to hear from some of our guest experts. All right, so that takes me to the first part of that lean canvas. We're going to start with the problem. Okay, in our problem, there are going to be a few big takeaways. We're going to start with a real specific problem, something your customer actually experiences, All right. What are those pain points that your customers see? We want you to frame this as a pain point or a need, not just a broad global issue. So get as specific as possible. The sharper the problem, the stronger the solution. And the question that goes along with that problem that you'll see on the award force is what is the customer need your innovation will address? So a strong innovation starts with solving a clear problem. Get specific. So with that in mind, let's go ahead. We're going to hear from our guest experts. I'm going to start with Indu. And Indu, we're going to start from the beginning. Every innovation begins with a spark, right? For you, when you were in the Conrad Challenge, what was the initial problem your team wanted to solve? And one of the best questions we get from every student is, how did you first get inspired? Where did your problem come from?
Yeah, that's a great question and something really important to ask as you're just beginning the lean canvas stages of your design cycle. But our product, as Joey kind of touched upon earlier, was in the health and nutrition category, and we essentially developed smart shades for limiting and tracking UV radiation as it enters the home. So the initial spark for our product came pretty naturally. My partner and I, we were both in the same biology class, and we remember learning about the extreme prevalence of skin cancer across the country and its preventable nature. We kind of naturally did some more research into that and found that a lot of UV radiation passes through clear glass windows and into the house, which is something that is not really commonly addressed. So for us, it kind of came naturally. I would recommend taking inspiration from your classes, your communities, and really paying attention to pain points that you see around you. And I feel like if you choose a topic that you're genuinely passionate about, and something that affects your community personally, it just makes your story that much more compelling, and your journey just that much more fun.
Yeah, thank you, Indu. That is a great answer. Yeah, and I can't echo that enough to get out there and talk to your community, get out there and see what the community and the people, right? Because the empathetic innovation really comes from getting to know those around you. Now I want to switch over to Ethan, who I induced was in Conrad Challenge in 2021. Ethan has lived the entrepreneurial journey as an adult in the adult world. So I want to go ahead and frame this to him. Ethan, when you were looking in that entrepreneurial, how did you identify a problem or a pain point that you wanted to be able to solve for your customer base?
First of all, thanks for having me and welcome everyone to Conrad Challenge, a prestigious, great event. I'm sure you can enjoy it. So speaking of my entrepreneur experience, I've co-founded like 4 different companies since college. 2 companies were in the education industry. The other 2 were in sports, specifically soccer business industry, which was my passion. So to answer this question, I'd like to give 2 examples. The first example was my first company, which was an education company that provided summer camps, study trips, soft skill focused programs for high school students in China. So I was a junior student in Peking University in college when I co-founded this company with my classmates, basically. So when we thought about like the education landscape in China at the time, we thought that, oh, all of the high school students spend their summer vacations, winter vacations, so much time on test preparations. And at that time, 95% of the programs, the offerings were about test prep for TOEFL, prep for the college entrance examination and everything. And as college students, we were enjoying a very diverse selections of extracurricular activities in college. So we thought about, oh, maybe we could found a company and offer this kind of like model United Nations camps, English debate camps, teamwork, problem-solving focused programs for high school students. And so we founded a company when I was a junior student in college. So I would say that was from like our observation of a need among high school students. And that was the first experience in my entrepreneur journey. And my second example was a few years ago, purely out of passion. I co-founded a podcast, which was talking about soccer, because although I was doing something else, although I studied international relations, I was doing education, entrepreneurship, but my lifelong passion has been soccer. I grew up as a soccer fan. So in 2020, during COVID, my partner and I, we found a lot of soccer fans, they were consuming soccer content on video, on TV. But during COVID, everyone wanted to, leave their screen for a period of time. So they might want to, go to the gym or just like spend more time cooking while listening to podcasts. So we found it like this is a increasingly more interesting vehicle or media of consuming and producing soccer content. So we started the football or soccer podcast. So to answer Joey's question, I would say my first entrepreneurship experience was from like a need that we saw. And the second time, it was from my childhood passion. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate you sharing that, Ethan. Really great insights on the counter between a need-based innovation versus a passion-based innovation. And really in the Conrad Challenge, finding both of those, a need that you are passionate about, is really a good idea that's going to help you stand out, help your innovation. We always tell our students, fall in love with your problem, right? Fall in love with the problem that you are trying to solve. And one of the guiding themes between both Indu and Ethan that you saw is that they saw a need, and people are the ones that needed that solution. It was the customer segment. And that's going to segue us into our next couple of slides. And that's the people that you are solving these problems for. And it starts with the customer. We use the term customer segment on the Conrad Challenge submission. You're going to see the question, who is the target audience who is served by your innovation? And some really big, broad key takeaways. Who exactly is experiencing this problem? What subset of people? Is it a community? Is it a specific set of people? Is it a town? Is it a country? Is it the globe, right? We want to avoid using an everyone. We want you to target your primary users on that customer segment. And the clearer your customer profile, the better your lean canvas, because you're going to be able to go and serve those people. And so the clearer your customer, the stronger your canvas. Our next one is going to be the early adopters. So if you have your customer segments, and that's broad, your early adopters, these are your first champions. And the question that you're going to see on the submission is, within your target customer segment, who are the very first customers you will target, right? These are the people that are going to be the most eager to try your innovation, your first purchasers. Usually this is going to be a smaller, a more specific group within your customer segment. And they're critical for testing and proving your idea. And so think about, who do you want to be those first users so you can get substantial data to be able to grow your user base. And so your early adopters are going to be those launchpad to bigger markets. All right. And so that comes from the people. Now we're going to go ahead and hear from our guest experts on how they utilize those customers, utilize the early adopters. I'm going to start with Ethan on this one. Now, Ethan, whether it's the soccer podcast or whether it's the education in entrepreneurship, once you had that spark, once you knew exactly what you wanted to solve, how did you figure out who was your innovation for, and who did you imagine your first users were going to be, in that innovation? I'd like you to focus on the education entrepreneurship aspect.
Yeah, that's a great question again. So when we started the education startup, honestly, my high school was our first client. So I went back to my high school to talk to the teacher, talk to the headmaster, and talk to the students, and recruit the first basically group of users, customers from my alma mater. And then I talked to my college classmates, because all of them graduated from their own high school. So I talked to them, and through them, I talked to their school high school headmasters, decision makers, and then they became like the second group of our customers. So my advice to all of our younger generation of innovators is, please remember, no one knows your community better than you do. So start from your high school, like your friends, like your community, because no one knows them better than you do. And after that, you can definitely expand your customer base or potential customer pool. Yeah, start from the people around you. Yeah.
That's great. Nobody knows your community better than you do. I think those are such wise words. Indu, now we're going into more Conrad. When you were going into that Conrad experience, you know, uh, how did you figure out who did you go, who are your customer segments that you went out to make to look at this problem?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for us, actually figuring out our target market was quite an iterative process, because we started thinking that a certain subgroup of young professionals who are like millennials and Gen Z who really invest in smart homes would be our primary customer segment. But after speaking with the people we knew, like our neighbors and our teachers and other people in our community, they gave us really good feedback telling us that a lot of people in that demographic don't necessarily have the disposable income to invest in such a long-term product. So we adjusted our strategy from there. And then one thing I want to really emphasize is the importance of customer discovery and actually speaking with your potential clientele. Um, I feel like no matter how amazing or ingenuitive your product is, if it's not addressing to the specific needs and appeals of your audience, it's not really going to serve any purpose. Um, One anecdote that one of my mentors told me was, for example, say you were designing a Band-Aid for hospitals. You have to think you don't think like a ton of different aspects would go into that, but you have to think about, which one's the easiest to peel open, which one is like leaves the minimal amount of residue, and which one takes the least amount of time from start to finish. And if your product is not the one that whoever's using